All right, can you guys hear me now? Can you guys hear me now? One, two, three. Can you guys hear me now? Yes. Carol says yes. Okay. Everybody seems to be hearing me loud and clear at this time. All right, let me just see, folks, if I could rectify something here from my end as we are moving on here. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah, as I said, I am trying out a new innovative invention tonight to bring you guys the live proceedings each and every Saturday. So just trying to get myself a little more acquainted here before we actually take flight. All right. But I'm seeing you guys. I am seeing your comments. So thank you very, very much indeed. Let me see here. Yes, these are the comments here. Okay. Let me see this. All right, folks, thank you very, very much indeed. I think I got what I wanted rectified indeed. And so, yes, it's a pleasure, Dominicans, to be in your company for yet another Saturday. Let me say first off the bat that I apologize for not being with you guys the two past Saturdays. And for those of you who follow me very well, that was as a result of, the platform that I used to use, that is Facebook, on my telephone device. Facebook seems to not to be supporting an aspect of the live option again, so I was very uncomfortable, as it were, with the option that they're offering now. And I'm talking about, I used to do the live with you guys in landscape mode. But for some reason, based on my digging, Facebook is not supporting that landscape mode anymore. So they are now only supporting the portrait mode, as it were. And I wasn't too comfortable with just the portrait mode, all right? So I had to look into another avenue to bring you the live proceedings that we normally do here each and every Saturday. And so, yes, this Saturday I am here with you in the flesh and feeling much, much more comfortable here indeed. All right. So, folks, today is the 2nd, yes, the 2nd of December 2023. And so that is where we are about to take flight in just a bit. I'm still seeing Annie Joseph is saying here, no voice. All right, so for the final time, is everybody hearing me loud and clear? I just want to get that clear before we moving on here, because I'm seeing some persons are still saying that they are not able to hear me as we speak. All right, okay. Kate Alexander says here she's hearing loud and clear. We are hearing you. Okay, so I guess those of you who are not hearing, then you need to maybe restart or do something to your device indeed. All right, so folks, yes, so let's get things cracking here. As I was saying, I apologize for my past two non-appearances here, but that is as a result of the platform that I was using not supporting an aspect of the live proceedings. So I had to, be innovative and do something different so that the information that you guys get, it is at its optimal level each and every time. All right. Dominicans, it's a pleasure. Those of you in the region, it's a pleasure. Those of you further afield, because we know with social media, everything is global, yeah? Everything gone wild, as it were. And so this evening, Dominicans, we're going to have a very, very engaging program. We're going to have a very interactive session, at least. But before I do that, let me just go to my device here and touch some of you by name, as it were, so that you guys know that I am seeing you and also your comments as well. We have here Judy Cherney. It says locked in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Yes, you're coming in loud and clear. Laura Samantha is watching. Miska Ismael. Irresistible Cordelia is watching. Margarita Joseph. Brother Ashby Scotland. Phi Francis. Pat Corbett. Pat, I owe you a call, my brother. I was very, very busy today when you called twice. All right. Brother David Joseph, you're listening as well. Vincent Warrington says loud and clear in California. Bruntal says audio. Bruntal, I hope your audio is crystal clear at your end at this time. Khalid Lastik says we are all tech support. Don't want to miss a sentence indeed. Thank you very much indeed. Carla Guy listening and watching. She's saying loud and clear. Gilbert Signoret. Dedi Carrett, yes, is watching and listening as well. Who else we have here? Malisa, yes, Malisa Frederick Semper also is listening and watching. Connie Stricker, Justina Ferdinand is saying tuned in lofty London, UK. Good evening to you as well. We also have Rosette John Charles, Carol Jules Matthew, Justina James, Verna McGlaw, Thai Francis, Sherry Cass MC. Good evening to you. We also have Chandra, yes, Chandra St. Val. Bertil Birmingham is watching as well. Judith Cochran in the Cochran area. Good evening to you folks and all the Cochran posse at this time. Annette Monjuri, you are there. Jasid Leroy James. Yannick Bees, yes, Yannick Bees, good evening to you. Pernella Henry. Liney Andrew. Petra Carbon George. Thaddeus James, my brother Thaddeus James, good evening to you, my bro. Always keep up that very, very good work indeed in terms of letting your people hear what is on your mind. We also have Kate Alexander listening. Who else we have here? Stephanie John Baptist. Mali Ostri normally calls a whole ton of people when she's onto the live. So Mali, thank you very much. Carol, Jules, Matthew, Griffo, Daniel, Strathmore, Edwards. I'm seeing here Angela J. Cedra Scotland. You're also there. Brother Norris Charles, you're there as well. Lydia Molke Harris. Brother Severin Mackenzie. We also have here Jean Thomas Jeremy. You're watching as well. Margarita Joseph, my friend up there in the Valley area. Loda Jack, that is Lean Loda Jack. Verna McGlaw, Carol Ford, Ice Maroney, Kerry Lockhart Savage. We also have Brother Marshall Lawrence, Yo-Yo Mary, Valerie Joseph, Rose Charles, Fleming Marcel, yes. Mamise Saint Jean, you're listening and watching. We also have Gamaliel, yes. Gamaliel Moses, you're also there. Hetty Lawrence, Magel Durand, Marvin Daniel, Shirley Mills, Rudolph Marie Saran, John Jules, Angela Paul. Who else we have? Martha Lucien, yes. Laurie Xavier, Christine Nicholas, Jan Joseph, you're listening and watching. Good evening. Paula Lupin, Cyrilia Celestine, Evangeline, yes, Evangeline Nichols, Rudolph Marie, Gemma Fontaine up there in the Marigot area. Good evening to you. Veronica Pascal, Roy Williams, Joe Benjamin, Kingdom Citizen, Victor James, Veronica Pascal, Al Charles, Brother Irish, Alistair Irish, that is. He says, Lofty, my radio loud and the volume low. I know indeed. We also have here, who else we have here? Alex, yes, Alex Batley, Al Charles, Usika Isles, Marilyn Pascal, and the list goes on and on. Frances Vidal. And so, folks, the 100 plus, 170 something plus of you who are already here, it's always a pleasure. And please, as Brother Jassy Leroy James is saying here, please share the live indeed. All right, folks, it is what? 20 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock, and that is where we have to get things cracking here as it were. In terms of information, Dominicans, I know that the health ministry in Dominica, they may not want to be telling you certain things as it is happening in real time. I guess they may not want to put fear into the public. But what I can tell us Dominicans is that there is a situation unfolding in Dominica. And those of you with small children, little children at this time, you need to pay particular attention. Because I'm being reliably informed, that is, from some persons in the health sector in Dominica, that there may be cause for concern as it pertains to a virus that is in the air. And that virus is known as the hand, foot, and mouth disease. All right, folks? Again, I want to repeat, the hand, foot, and mouth disease. That is a disease, a virus that is in the air in Dominica. And the health persons in Dominica, they are not telling you as is, but there are a number of cases as we speak that the health persons are witnessing, and they are trying their best to sort of, keep things together. But yours truly, your humble servant, I don't want to alarm you, but I just need to put you on guard, because that hand, foot, and mouth disease is a real thing in Dominica. And so persons, especially with small children, those of you who are going to school at this time, in terms of your hygiene practice, that is what I'm being told. Very, very, this disease thrives where the hygiene is on the poor side of things. All right, so the washing of hands, the making sure that your body parts are clean, especially the hands, because that infection is real. All right, and so a number of persons, including young children, have been coming down with that hand, foot, and mouth disease. So Dominicans, please pay particular attention to this. All right. Also, Dominicans, in terms of our health at this time, I'm being reliably informed that there is an upsurge, as it were, of dengue in Dominica. Yes, dengue is on the rise, and so those of you who can do what you can do to prevent the breeding of mosquitoes and mosquito breeding areas, please do. Again, from some health persons in Dominica, they're saying that, Mr. Dira, there's an upsurge in the dengue reported cases in Dominica. All right, so please be on your guard. If you know your neighbor is a mosquito breeder, as it were, by having empty drums, containers with water that need not be uncovered containers where water, especially in the rainy season, can be collected, and that is a sure breeding ground for mosquitoes, then at least you need to alert your neighbors that that is not a healthy practice. And if needs be, contact the environmental health department so that at least they can be apprised of the situation. And I'm hoping they will take the necessary precaution in that regard. All right. And finally, what I'm hearing as well from some of the health people in Dominica is that alongside the hand, foot, and mouth disease coupled with the dengue, there's also a flu that is going around. And so persons, we have to be very, very careful at this time. All right. So there's a flu that is going around at this time. And so we all know, the flu normally lasts in your system for about 7 days with a lot of pain, aches, fever, and these symptoms. So guys, please be very, very careful indeed. All right. And I am just hoping that the health ministry, the persons in the health department will see it fit to basically come out and give the nation, that is, the information as is, causing no alarm. But I think someone's health is their wealth, as Dr. Kelsick used to say. And so if we don't have health, proper health that is, then we are really not operating at our best, at our optimal. All right. So let's keep that in check. Let us move on here, Dominicans. This week, for sure, Monday come down to this being Saturday. This week was a very tough week for us in Dominica. I can tell you that without a shadow of a doubt. In that a number of persons lost lives in Dominica. A number of persons lost lives in Dominica. And so to all of you who may be grieving at this time, all of you who may be, going through some kind of pain because of the loss of a loved one, I personally want to reach out to you right now and sort of, just convey my sympathy, my condolences to you guys in your very trying time. This week we woke up, I think it was Tuesday morning, with very, very unfortunate news of a businessman in Dominica losing his life. There are a lot of speculations around why he may have lost his life. Investigation, I'm being told, is still going on as we speak, and I'm talking about none other than Mr. Ronald Astaphan, owner of Guiab, or once the owner, because it has since closed down. Once the owner of Guiab Restaurant in Dominica, a household name in terms of the restaurant business in Dominica. And Tuesday morning, Tuesday morning, I believe, we woke up to that news, that very dreaded news that Ronald died. We are hearing some things as it pertains to his death. I know the family is in mourning at this time. Well, let me qualify that. Some of the family, they are in mourning at this time based on what I know. And I have reasons for saying that. But Ronald's death, it's a sort of wake-up call, Dominicans, for all of us in Dominica. What may have happened to Ronald on that tragic night, Monday, most likely, based on how things are panning out in terms of the investigation and being told from within, that is a wake-up call. That is a wake-up call. If, and that's the big if, Dominicans, if what I am hearing in terms of how Mr. Astaphan came to his demise, we all need to be each other's keeper in Dominica, and I say that without no reservation. We need to be much more loving in Dominica. We need to at least be each other's keeper in a nutshell. Ronald Astaphan was an exceptional businessman in terms of his delivery, in terms of his output. Me dealing with Ronald on a regular basis enough, because I used to do a lot of repairs for him in terms of his equipments, when they needed servicing, when they needed repairs. So Ronald had that sort of, infectious personality, and so you could not be around this brother and not have a conversation with him. And so there are a number of things that he told me in private, was going wrong with his life. And so, I tried my best at different times, different intervals, to just be there with him. But, life have a way of panning out certain things in life, right? And that is just how Ronald had to end. His life had to come to an end. I am saying prematurely, because knowing Ronald, very bubbly, Used to be down at times, but on a whole, a very bubbly person, pleasant personality. A lot of persons who worked with Ronald, they learned a lot from him. They learned a lot from him. Especially in the cooking department, the cuisine department, the chef business. I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, people, just remembering Ronald, this crab back thing that we know in Dominica every Creole season, every Independence time. And I'm saying that based on what I tasted, Ronald was like second to none in terms of producing that very, very delicious delicacy at our Independence season. And so he will be missed for sure. I can tell you that in that department. But not just that. His whole outlook for Dominica, his whole way that he carried himself as a businessman. Lots of persons, I can tell you, they are mourning the loss of this businessman at this time. Yes? So to the grieving Astafan family at this time, I want to condole with you guys. I want to ask that the good Lord above come at this time and encourage you guys as you guys go through your time of grieving. Valerie Joseph says this man was broken. Ross living our shores hurt this man's business. And yes, Brother Joseph, I can tell you that because he basically told me without reservation that the Ross leaving our shore basically dealt his business a blow, and not in the so good way. All right, so yes, you are spot on, and whoever he dealt with, he spoke with in confidence, that came out. And there are other situations that sort of struck him on the not so good side of life. But in terms of just what I know, and that is what the program is all about, I know Dominicans that the investigation is still ongoing, Ronald's case, but from very, very reliable sources, that is, very close to Ronald, the Monday, Ronald basically was Ronald. After the closure of his business in Roseau, he basically reclined himself to, sort of continuing on in his business, but on a lower level, a lesser scale as it were, but up at his home in the Miro Heights. Monday, I'm being told it was sort of a regular Monday for persons who were around him on that Monday. Got up, did his stuff, baked his cakes, his cheese straws, his tarts, his whatever. It was like a regular day. A matter of fact, I'm being told on Tuesday, when we got that unfortunate news, there was stuff made from the night or day before, and they were well covered with plastic wrap in how you call these containers, the trays, ready to go. Ronald had a number of outlets in Dominica, persons who sold his stuff. He had this delivery brother to deliver the stuff to these different outlets. And so it was, based on, persons who were there, business as usual, not knowing that Tuesday morning, Ronald would be no more. And so Tuesday morning, a number of calls were made to Ronald, no answer. And so persons who knew Ronald very well said, no, that is not the Ronald we know. One gentleman, I'm being told, basically went up to the home to, sort of see what's up or what's not. When he went to the home, he said that the vehicle that Ronald drove was parked like normal in the garage, same position as a custom. Nothing looked out of order from the outside. Everything was, A-OK. A number of calls were made, a number of knocks on the front door, the door was locked, and no answer from Ronald. That gentleman, being around Ronald for some time, basically went to take a ladder. I'm being told position that ladder on the side of Ronald's bedroom area. And he saw Ronald on his bed from that vantage point, from that window area. But no response. He called him, no response. And so in his mind at the time, he basically thought that, this brother was just sick or something, happened. And so he went in search for help. The entire house was locked down, which a number of persons who knew Ronald very well said that wasn't Ronald. There was this particular door. It has been told that he would usually keep open 90% of the times. That door was locked. And so, sort of a red flag was raised from there. So this brother, I'm being told, went in search of help. And help came. They actually had to go through that front door by bursting it open, because that front door was locked. That front door was locked. They are now in the house, I'm being told, after bursting that locked that front door. They are now into the dwelling. The room door as well was locked, I'm being told. But luckily, the room door, they did not have to burst that room door, because at least someone, I'm being told, knew at least where a spare key was placed by Ronald, just in case that room door would have locked inadvertently. And so that brother or that person, I'm being told, took that spare key and opened that door. And voila. The sight on that bed basically shocked everybody that was there at the time. Here it is. A brother that was full of life was now laying lifeless. And so that sight sent shockwaves among everybody who were there at the time. And so the police were called in. Police came, started the investigation, and persons who were there on the scene basically said that they saw the body now on the bed, and there was a pillow across Ronald's chest, I'm being told. And his pistol, or a pistol. Let me say that correctly. A pistol. And a jacket for that pistol was on the right side of Ronald's bed, where he laid in that bed, lifeless. Upon further scrutiny of that body, that lifeless body, it was clear that at least a shot a bullet hole, a bullet went through that pillow that laid across his chest. And that bullet hole, I'm being told from very reliable sources, because I like to get my sources spot on people. That bullet hole, it is said, was directly just above Ronald's sternum area. For those of you who are biologically inclined, you will know exactly where that part of your body is, just above your breast area, right in the center, right above, right there, in the sternum area. And that bullet, I'm being told, did not go through the body. It is believed that it was lodged in the body. A number of reasons, a number of factors maybe can be attributed to that. But during the investigations, a lot of blood in the back area now of Ronald was or could be visibly seen. There are a number of speculations out there as to how Ronald came to his demise, but it is not me to come to that conclusion. I can only tell you or bring you the facts of the matter as to just how it went down based on factual accounts of persons who were there on the scene at the time in terms of that investigation. So your guess now is as good as mine as to what really and truly transpired at his home. I am not the one to make that call. Let the authorities do their work and let them come up with, the rationale or the answer or the answers, what may have happened on that very unfortunate night. There are a number of other circumstances that surround Ronald the businessman. And if you guys listen to him and his utterances on Fudina's program, I think that is the last public utterance that he made. You guys, maybe there are a number of sorry, I was just getting the feedback. There were a number of utterances that he made, and you guys can deduce a lot of stuff from the comments that he made. But suffice to say, people, Ronald was under a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure. A matter of fact, the closing of Guyav restaurant basically, I think, dealt him a blow. And so when he had to take that not so good decision by actually closing a household name in Dominica, then I can tell you that wasn't the best of decisions that he wanted to take, but he had no choice. And again, there are a number of circumstances that surrounded that situation. And if he was there to tell the story or retell the story, then you'd be hearing it from him as well. So folks, I think there's much more in the tank that I can say, but I choose not to say because I know it is a very ticklish situation with the death of Ronald. I know some persons out there, you may have your own assumption. You may have your own, perspective on things. And so it is all well and good. But I normally like to stick with the facts of any matter. And so I think factually that is all I can say for now. If I have to say any other thing in moving forward with Ronald, then it will be giving my perspective on things, which I don't think that it is the right time to do at this time. All right? So that is where I will sort of cut it in terms of the passing of former businessman Ronald Astaphan. We also heard Dominica, again, a very unfortunate news, Dr. Carissa Etienne. She passed this week. Dr. Carissa Etienne was a very, very loved person, I can tell you that, a very loved Dominicans by many. And so her death came as a shocker to a lot of persons in Dominica and throughout the globe, because Dr. Carissa Etienne was heading PAHO, and she was an international figure. A matter of fact, when news got around of her passing, a number of journalists in the region, Antigua, St. Vincent, and St. Kitts, they made contact with me just to verify that what they have been hearing was true. And I told them yes, based on confirmation in Dominica by someone close to her. I believe that information to be true about the person that you're asking. And so, they were very, very heartbroken indeed. And so I know she will be missed by all those who love her. A very, very tall figure in the medical field. And so we wish her very, very well indeed. That is none other than our very own, our beloved Dr. Carissa Etienne indeed. All right, so to all our family, our friends, our loved ones at this time, we want to sympathize with you guys. We want to mourn with you guys. We want to be there with you guys, because as I said in the preamble of this discussion, Dominicans, this week in particular was very, very tough indeed. It was just one bad news after another bad news after another bad news and another bad news. And so, sometimes you don't even want to watch your telephone. You don't even want to listen to the radio, because most of the times you're asking, what next? And that is how this week was for us in this country, Dominica. All right? On top of that, we're also hearing about a possible double homicide case in Dominica as well. When was that? Yesterday or day before yesterday, whereby these two business people in the south of Dominica, it is alleged that may have, have had this long-running struggle for some time. For what? It has been said over a portion of land where a road is passing. And, that struggle basically got the better of them. And it is just sad. It is just very, very sad indeed. Very, very sad. In terms of an update that I'm hearing, at least 3 persons are in police custody as we speak. Read the investigation of this matter. And so let us hope at least 1, 2, or 3 of these persons will provide some kind of information to the police in Dominica that will sort of arrest that situation and bring some kind of solace, some kind of comfort, as it were, to the man and his wife, who, it is said, was shot to death and then thereafter burnt. And in the process, the persons who did this act, it is said, basically tried to do away with the evidence, as it were, by pushing their vehicle, the charred vehicle, down over into a precipice area. But you know something, as someone is writing there, that is my friend Twa Williams, she said, God is in control. And yes, the good Lord was in control. Read this homicide, double homicide that is. And so that Jeep, I'm being told, got stuck between a tree or by a tree or however it got stuck. And so that vehicle did not go down all the way, the number of feet down that was expected. I am being told from persons who are investigating that matter. And so villagers or farmers in that area, you know, when they took the scent that morning, that unusual scent, because you cannot just burn a vehicle tonight and, you know, everything just vanishes or disappears, you know. So the farmers or whoever was traversing that area very early in the morning, they said they smelled that, you know, scent that wasn't common to that area. And so after further investigation, moving closer to that scent, here it is, they saw this charred vehicle. Well, first of all, they saw this area that was very black, meaning something got burnt there. And moving a bit further, they saw that vehicle, you know, trapped against a tree. And the investigation started from there. Now, again, Dominicans, it is all trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together. But what I can tell you from very confirmed sources is that a number of persons who visited that area, and I'm talking about strangers in particular, villagers alike, but, you know, especially strangers, there was this fear, there was this intimidation, there was this struggle, there was this back and forth by at least one of the persons suspected to be in police custody as we speak, whereby this person, it is said, would always make some trouble over persons passing over a piece of road. And that struggle went on for a number of years. And so these two people, two businessmen, foreigners at that, in the south of Dominica, they were just not getting along. And so I'm being told the police, yes, the police department in Dominica, they were called in on a number of occasions to sort of, you know, try to put peace, try to rectify the situation, try to speak, you know, whatever it is. And for some reason that problem was just there existing. But folks, my issue with that problem indeed, it wasn't just the problem that ensued between these two people. It was the action, or no, let me rephrase that. It was the inaction by some members of the Dominica Police Force who on a number of occasions were made aware of at least, it is said, one individual brandishing a gun at times in this struggle where other individuals were concerned. And that, to me, it raises a number of red flags. And the ultimate question must be at this time, people, what did the police do? What did the police should have done with an individual? It is reported a number of cases were reported to them where it is said one individual brandished a gun every time, sometimes when those struggles ensued. That road issue. Yeah? And so that is very, very revealing, people. And let me just see if I can, let me see which one. Yes, this one. Let me just read for you folks. You know, sometimes when things happen, then in order to put the pieces together, you need to go back, as it were. Let me read for you some things now that let me just read some things for you people that I was just fact checking something there, so sorry about that. Let me just read some things for you, at least 1, 2, or 3 paragraphs, whereby with this situation coming to a head now, where it is said or alleged 2 people got shot, a man and his wife basically got ambushed by a man or a number of persons. I don't know. I wasn't there. And this thing coming to a head now, a number of persons getting to know about that situations, they are now saying that it could be them. It could have been them. And so this person is writing here. Let me just read for you. And that is one person who was attacked. And that person was attacked by, it is said, one of the gentlemen in question, Ridi Saga, on the 5th of November 2019. Folks, we are in 2023. So that goes back 4 years, 1 month plus. That person is reporting about that incident when they basically was accosted by this man. It says here, I am staying in a guest house in Soufriere for a bit more than a week. Today, we went for a hike around the area. There's this public road leading through Bobois Cotlet Estate, and we went through there on the public road. At some point, we stopped, checked our GPS to see where we were exactly. All of a sudden, this crazy lady comes rushing towards us, screaming and yelling that we should leave her property. She came directly towards my friend, an owner of the guest house where I am staying, screaming like a maniac. She literally pushed him backwards, and a bus driver got between them and tried to defend us. Then she came towards me with fire in her eyes. She was in my face, yelling and being very threatening. I asked her to calm down, to which she responded by slapping my arm, so I tripped backwards. Again, the bus driver tried to calm her down with no luck. At no time we touched her. All we did was pass through and said we had the right to be there. When some cruise ship guests passed by 50 meters away, and apparently her son came to talk to her, she rushed furious, she said, to a shed. Let me just take that again. When some cruise ship guests passed by 50 meters away, and apparently her son came to talk her down, that person is thinking is a son, she rushed furious to a shed. I was actually worried that she would come out with an axe, a machete, or something to threat us away from the public road through her property. That is one person, people. That's a foreigner who stayed in Dominica for some time, reporting of the very unusual, very unkindly way that she and her people were treated by some persons in that area. Again, all stems from that road issue. So we reported November 2019. Somebody's reporting another situation in the wake of that situation now. Somebody else. 22nd of March 2022 at 9:55 a.m. That person is writing, "Don't go there. The venue is a farm and the ruins of an old sugarcane plantation that dates back into the time of slavery. Nowadays it belonged to an American white family. We went there without knowing anything, but ended up just scratching the surface of a dirty and horrendous reality. There were no one at the venue of reception, so we got off to the car for a walk. On the road within 2 minutes, a white guy in a quad came aggressively asking us to leave because the road was private." So you see the common denominator, people, that road keeps coming back over and over again. Let's continue. That person writes further, "When we were leaving, already inside the car, a brave local woman came from the village, carefully told us that the owners of the venue do not allow the locals to pass through the road that connects two villages. While she was trying to politely and carefully telling us the situation, 3 more white men with a Rottweiler dog got close to hear the woman. The situation was shocking. The seriously threatening behavior of the 4 white men towards that young black woman was the most abusive thing I've seen in my life. The local woman was clearly scared by the local woman was clearly scared by the dog and the men, so I stayed there for a while without asking anything else because I was also feeling threatened with the difference that I was talking from inside the car. I still asked several times very loudly if the lady was feeling threatened and that I could give her a ride. She decided to stay because her transport was about to arrive. But I really fear for that young lady and her people. Someone have to do something about the situation. Tourists are giving money to these people who are committing serious abuses towards local humble people without a voice. I could not take photos because I feared the white men had weapons apart from the Rottweiler. Please contact the people from the surrounding villages to know more. Instead of following big tour groups to this place that even after centuries that slavery was abolished still stands for abusive and racist behavior inside the most incredible country that is Dominica." The person ends by saying, "This case needs to be investigated seriously." And folks, that wasn't yesterday. That wasn't last week. That was penned in 2022, March of 2022. I'm going to read just one more. June of 2022, 12:07 p.m. Somebody else is recalling their situation with these people who it is alleged committed this heinous crime to this couple. "While taking my daughter and her cousin for a drive along the public road," again, people, you see that road keeps coming up over and over. That is the common thread. That is the common denominator of something that went really, really sour. While taking my daughter and her cousin for a drive along the public road, which has been established for long before I was born in 1965. Returning from sightseeing the properties beyond the view of Matnik, we attempted to stop to patronize the property, and I wanted to teach my daughter about the history of the place, being a gift given by Napoleon Bonaparte to his wife Josephine. But we were chased by a man on a green open 4x4. Strange behavior, that person says. Where we too are dark-skinned. So folks, you see the kind of vibe, old vibe that is, that persons in the wake of that very tragic situation that happened this week in Dominica, you see what some persons are writing. And there are many, many more writings. But, time permits, we can't go through all these writings. And so what I am saying in Dominica today, people, the police in Dominica, to me, they dropped the ball on that matter. You cannot have a man, albeit a foreigner, owning a business in the south of Dominica, and there is a public road. They are not going onto his quote-unquote property, but in this man's warped mind, he thought the road belonged to him. And so whoever had to go to this other property, this other business above him, had no choice but to use that road. And this man and his people, they were just, being very inhumane. To people like themselves and to even locals. And so are we being placed in a category now as second-class citizens in our own land, people? How could a foreigner come to Dominica, buy a property, and a road is adjoining that property, which leads to 2 villages, and you're telling me that foreigner is preventing and want to prevent people, local as well as foreigners, to use that road? Man, that is just absurd. And I'm being told a number of different occasions, this brother, it is alleged, brandished gun at people. And so where was the police in all that in Dominica? Was that person too high, basically too high in society or too well connected, that his gun couldn't be taken away from him? There are a number of persons in Dominica, people, who do much less, an iota, or doesn't have to do nothing at all, and their gun, their firearm will be taken away from them. And so what about that case? What about that not case, I should say, whereby this brother, it is said, brandishing a gun from since, Nane Canal, as it were, in Dominica. And his gun is not taken away from him. And so to me, I put the blame, or part of that blame, squarely and solely at the feet of our law people in Dominica. We have a hard-working brother in Dominica. This brother, if you see him, I don't think he can kill a fly in the name of Wayne James, a former police officer in the same Commonwealth of Dominica, people. And the hierarchy, the regime in Dominica, the rogue regime, I must add, colluded with the police to confiscate Wayne James' firearm, a businessman in Dominica. Wayne did not brandish any gun behind anybody. Wayne did not threaten anybody. Wayne did not show his gun indiscriminately in the public. But his gun was taken away from him. And if that gun is given back to him, it is before 6 o'clock tonight. Or maybe just after 6 o'clock when we came here. But what I know, up till now, that firearm is not given back to a bona fide Dominican, a former police officer, a man trained to use guns. And you have a lunatic now, it is said, in the south of Dominica, brandishing gun at people, at foreigners, at locals, because they are passing on a public road. And the police in Dominica, they are mute on the matter. That is absurd, people, to the highest degree. And so what happened to these people at Bois-Côtelette area or in that area in Galion, wherever it happened? The police have to take some responsibility for what transpired. And I'm saying that. They have to. Because if corrective actions were taken, maybe we would not be discussing that issue tonight. Just maybe. It cannot be you have people in Dominica and they are so well connected to the regime that the police are afraid to move as it pertains to breaking of the law. What are we creating, people? What are we creating? We are creating a payara state. We are creating a state where it is basically everybody will just take the law into their own hands. Because if the police cannot protect you, you have to protect yourself. So are we still living in the wild west days? Meaning the first gun to go off, or the person with the gun to go off first, that one will be alive or stay alive to try something another day? No. And look, Brother Julius Corbett is reminding me of another story there. Happened when 2009, 2008, somewhere down there. That matter was in the court, where it is said, Bubbles brandish a gun at a woman's head. June, what's her name? June, whatever is her name. That matter was in the court with Clayton Shillingford and June Etienne, yes. Where these people were saying they came to see some houses in Dominica. And Bubbles, again, another closely connected, let me say man for the time, to the regime, brandish a gun at Jones' head. And even before the case was concluded, his gun was given back to him by the system. What are we creating, people? Are we creating a country whereby it is might who is right? Is that the kind of country we want to live in today? Is that the kind of country we want to live for our children today, tomorrow, people? Is that the kind of country? Is that the kind of bed that we want to lie on in the future? I'm just asking the question. Because it would seem so that is the kind of atmosphere we are creating. whereby might is right. Once you are connected, once you are properly connected to the regime, then you are quote unquote invincible. And it would seem as if this brother in the south of Dominica was invincible for some time. Because you cannot tell me time and times without number his gun came out at foreigners and locals alike, and the police did nothing. That is a level of madness that I cannot really wrap my head around at this time. And so I'm not a proponent of violence. But at the end of the day, if the police cannot or fail to protect the bona fide citizens of Dominica, then we have to protect ourselves, people. We have to. We don't have a choice. And to add insult to injury, it is been touted about that the same well-connected brother allegedly involved in a double homicide in Dominica, a foreigner at that, is a Dominican citizen through the CBI program. And maybe a passport peddler as well. And so what is our country descending into? Just what? And when we say the CBI program is a program that is not doing good by the Dominican people in terms of the hustlers that are there, the passport pushers, the passport peddlers, the passport sellers, the passport wheelers, the passport dealers. They want to take people like me to task. But I cannot say it any differently. It is what it is. And so when you have a man that will feel he's so connected to the system, the crooked system, and he can continue to do what he wants in big broad daylight to any and everybody without any punitive action, then we have something else looking at. We are staring down something differently as a country. Marshall says, Lofty, when you have inside connections, you can do anything personally. Yes, that's, Marshall, I agree with you. That is how it seems in the country. Margaret says the dealers are the ones making the money, not Dominicans. That is so true, Margaret. That is so very true. You have a passport program that is not benefiting Dominicans. Why do we have the passport program in the first place? Why? The resources of the state supposed to be to the benefit. It's supposed to drill down. It's supposed to reach the people of the country. But when you have these people coming with their big proposals and their big whatever it is, and they're just giving our passports to sell, some of them are scammers. They don't have shite, but they come with empty promises and they go off with heavy bank accounts on us, the people's back. What do we have to do? And so I know some people, you guys will take offense at me or other people coming to say it as it is ever so often. But we have to continue to pound the pavement with these messages so that the Dominicans' eyes will be opened, those who are not. to the reality of the country. That is where Dominica is at today. And we have to fix it. It's imperative. We have to as a people. We cannot continue going down that road with a very lawless bunch of people posing as government officials. No. And so we cannot think about talking about solutions by not tackling the issue, tackling the problem at its core. And the root core of Dominica's problem, people, it is the malgovernance of this country. This country is not governed properly. And it has been so for the past 20-something years. And it is getting worse and worse and worse. That's it. You have people in this country cannot make ends meet on a daily basis. They cannot. And you have people from wherever from the world, wherever from this globe, just come in here and scheming, making a mock. Gabriel Saint-Jean writes, this is called selective justice, where people are persecuted where no criminal activity has taken place, while some high-placed elements get away scot-free. This guy should have had his firearm confiscated and his license revoked a long time ago. And thank you, brother, for saying it as it is. It cannot continue to be that kind of country we are, making. It cannot. Wrong is wrong, right is right. And so when I tell us this country is not properly managed, for the past 20-something years, people, it has been so. It has been so. Because here it is, people. Let's just dovetail into one aspect of mismanagement now. Here it is. A company like Ross University. Ross now is comfortable in the Caribbean, you know. Ross was, we basically brought up Ross as a baby in the Caribbean, you know. Ross was our baby child, our, as they say in local palace, our baby. We raised Ross from young. And Ross was left unattended. Their needs could not be met by a very incompetent bunch, and they had no choice but to tell us bye. Ross is now in Barbados. So they are now helping the Bajan economy stay afloat. Whilst 30-something plus % of our income we used to get as a people in Dominica came from that prestigious company. And I will always lament the fact when Ross officials called on Roosevelt and Co., they were busy, too busy, trying to buy away or purchase Joseph Isaac to their Labour Party rogue regime side of things. And so the purchasing of Joseph Isaac was much more important to them than a company like Ross leaving our shores. Adelaide said it's more like 70%. Some persons would say that persons who were directly affected in the north, it was more like 70%, that Ross was adding value to their life. Roscoe, up till now, nothing tangible has replaced Ross, sorry. Nothing. But the deceiver keeps telling Dominicans over and over something is coming. This medical school is coming. That medical school is coming. Up till now, what they have down there is like a 2x4 company, I'm being told. Nothing close to Ross. Absolutely none. That is maybe a stopgap. You know, one of his people just come and put a stopgap there. Just to fool Dominicans or continue to fool Dominicans. Just to say, oh, something is happening in the compound. Ross left. Empty promises up till now. You have another big income earner that comes every 4 years. The World Cup Cricket Dominicans. You know how many countries that would latch onto that with their life? The Roosevelt Skerritt administration in Dominica just put out I'm not even calling that a communique. They put out a power. Empty. It's void of rationale. It's void of reasoning. Whereby Dominica, that got the green light from the body hosting the 220, so that Dominica could be highlighted and get some games. What passes as the government came out with, whatever it is. Giving us another excuse. Again, why we cannot as a country. Saudi Arabia, our newly found friend. You know why they're staying close to us in the Caribbean by extension? Is because they have intention to be the host of some big sporting event in the year 2030. We in 2023. And so they are now feathering their nests to put themselves in a position to be given the green light. 7 years away. And Dominica have it right in the palm of their hand this time around, given the green light, so that the world cameras can be on this little blessed rock. And that is the time some locals here would make some money in a struggling economy. And this, what passes for government, comes up with a very, very baseless excuse. And I'm telling you, people, if there was much more that these people, these rogues I call them, because that is what they are, and I'm going to call them as they are. If these rogues could be benefiting or could see a way where they could benefit personally from hosting this T20 cricket in Dominica, as I put on a post, they would have pulled the devil's tail to make it happen. But you know something? These bona fide bodies, they are not in You have the little corruption here and there, but they are not in full-blown corruption activities like we are in Dominica. Yeah? And so these rogues now in government in Dominica, they cannot circumvent, they cannot go around the checks and balances that are put in place so that they can make money personally from this situation. Read the World Cup. And so, they will dodge that activity, that event where Dominicans now by and large could earn some real money in a struggling economy. And that is what I boil it down to. Nothing else. You have a man, they say he's out there, have billions of dollars of Dominicans' money. If he's the real finance minister, well, ask him for some money. Ask him for some of our money to make it happen. But no. But no. An event like that, too many Dominicans, the taxi operators, the hoteliers, the big sellers, the persons who stew cod fish, the persons who do soup, everybody, it will trickle down. So as a result of that, these guys are not involved in that. They are not going down that road. And so again, that is another clear case of the mismanagement of Dominica as a country now by these people. What are they doing? What are they doing to make your life and my life better? Nothing. I told you guys, and you guys maybe it passed over your head, but I'll repeat it again for tonight's exercise. This is what passes for government, people. 2.5 years before their actual date of an election, they go into election mode. So if half or thereabout, a little 60% thereabout of the period that is allocated before an election is called, these people go into electioneering mode, what do you expect? And we know when an election is called, the first year is just to, as they say, get your feet wet. The second year, basically, they might just be looking into whatever it is to try to cover their tracks. The third year, election mode, fourth year, election year, and these days we don't even have that kind of period to go into elections because we see the trajectory now. It's once the opportunity is there, you call a snap, and you steal it. Big broad daylight. And some Dominicans will still clap as if, well, their life is getting better. So I say all that to say, people, I say all that to say to us tonight, our country needs us now. Our country needs us now. And so we have to find a way to literally get rid of that corrupt bunch. Other than that, it's ban mass. It is 7:35. I know I've been talking for a little while, so let me go to some of your comments. So the last 25 minutes of the discussion, then we can have that, back and forth. But just before I go there, people, I can reliably tell you that there's a new acting president at the Dominica State College. Mr. What's his name? Peters is no more in terms of president. And this young lady, it's a task ahead for her in terms of that acting position, but I think she has what it takes. And so I am wishing now Miss Trudy Christian very, very well in her endeavor to upgrade, uplift the educational aspect, the moral aspect, the every aspect of the word at our tertiary institution in Dominica. That is the State College up at the Stock Farm. So, Miss Christian, I wish you very well. I hope that at least you, in that acting position as president, will be able to do your work. And that your work, it will start to bear fruits in terms of the upliftment and the output of our young minds in Dominica. All right? Wish you very, very well, my friend. All right, let's take some comments here. Rick Paul says he left it home. That's what he said. This man have been, let me see that. This comment just eluded me here. A number of persons here commenting, super sad. Driving through Portsmouth on a Friday, Saturday night. No economic activity. That person is saying here. Johnny B. Good says that is hurtful. That is hurtful, we and Dominicans sit complaining under their breath, just not to offend labor and scare it. Johnny B. Good, you see that you see that statement you made there? Dominicans talking under their breath. It is very real. And let me just take some time to just elaborate on that very point that you made there, sir or madam, whoever you are, because I know some people go by these fictitious names on social media. Some Dominicans, yes, they are feeling the pinch. They are hurting. They are being squeezed left, right, and center. And as Johnny B. Good said, they don't want to offend labor. They don't want to offend scare it, as it were. I don't love calling scare it name, but you mention it. And that is how it is with some Dominicans. And so that fear factor that has taken over some person's entire being, their psyche, we have now to help them people break that spell, that demonic spell of not putting words or not giving words to their true inner feelings. How can somebody be pressing you so long, so much, and you choose not to say anything? You choose to just swallow it up. How is that possible? Some persons are cowards in Dominica. Very, very coward. They call you on a side. As a matter of fact, sometimes in the day, I'm on my routine, my mission. And I'm always, like a busy bug, busy bee. Some persons literally stop me. Lofty, can you say that for me, please? Lofty, can you say that for us, please? Lofty, can you? It's like, what is it? I can say that you cannot say. You know your situation better than me. I can only scratch the surface. If you tell me say A, I can just say A. But you going through can say B, C, E, and D to your situation. So what it is that you're afraid of? Who are you afraid of? And that is not jiving right, people. I never know Dominicans to be so cowards. Never. And I'm not talking about the young people, you know. The young people, they're in a league of their own. I'm talking about full-grown adult men and women. People that could be my grandfather and mother, calling me on a side and telling me, Lofty, say that for me, please. Lofty, these people doing that. They're not doing that. They're doing that. The human mind is a very good thing. If I was a robot or a computer or whatever it is, I would have to put some extra storage. Because why? The amount of stuff that comes my way on a daily basis. Persons are hurting. They are hurting inside. But they're afraid to speak. And so we have to find a way to break that fear barrier, people. We have to work on that. I saw my friend, what's her name? Margaret Wallace is here with us tonight. Margaret, you are in that field of counseling and therapy and whatever it is, dealing with the human psyche. Tell us, how can we get out of that frame? And persons of your ilk. That is not human, people. That is not being human. So, brother Johnny B. Good, I compliment your comment in terms of that silence. We are to silent people. What is there to be silent about when you are hurting? And I know you guys are hurting. And so that is why I choose to be your quote-unquote representatives. But I cannot do it alone. You have to step up to the plate as well. You have to. I was there around the same time you were. And yes, I can agree with you. It wasn't a nice feeling at all. I guess that person is responding to the Portsmouth situation. Let me see if we get some comments here. As we're moving on here. Margaret Wallace writes, Trun's probably being advised by foreign folks who have no heart for Dominica because this makes no sense. Marceline Edwards writes, all what is done to Dominicans, we have allowed it. They know there are no consequences. Kinsley Brooks says, please bring the ICC games, please. We need them for entertainment, amusement, fueling of the economy, and advertising our country. Karen Joseph writes, honestly, these two people were also Canadians, so I hope that these investigations will reach far and wide and the snakes will be caught, every hand, finger, head, thumb who allowed this to happen. Marina Charles writes, it is so sad. Someone is replying to Trun says, whoever is advising the PM needs to be fully blamed for misleading us in that country. Bernard Johnson, you're watching. Gerald Dossett, good evening to you. Let me see if I can take some comments from some persons who have not mentioned before. Cheryl, Tiana George is right. Really? Wow. Up is up. Up is up, Trudy Christian. Yes, Trudy is up and up individual. So thank you very much, Tiana, for your compliments. We also have here Joan Bernard James is watching. Good evening to you, Joan. John Alfred is watching as well. Good evening to you. Sandra Geese is watching. Payo Pascal, Caril Fontaine, Evian Ernest, right? The government of Dominica don't want the spotlight on them because all the international reporters would uncover all the dirty secret from this government. Brother Julius Corbett, Lendell Johnson is watching. Alistair Irish writes, Lofty Scarrett sees downfall coming, so he taking front to call the sham 22 election, because if he didn't do that, the next year 2024 would be a real general election, because 2019 to 2024 is 5 years, and how Dominica be, even if he come with Bill Gates and Donald Trump money, he will lose. Alistair, you're making some bold proclamations there, my brother. You have to keep in your archives as well. The old people used to say, La Jacques fait zombie danser. All right? And it seems as if that is what has been happening for some time. But I agree with your comment. Agafala Rock says, what acting you president you talking? Can they just make the lady president? Well, Larrock, if it is in your power to make a president, then that's fine. But the position is acting president. And so that is what I must report on. That is what it is. But I get your point nonetheless. Gerald Vital says, one of the ways to get rid of the DLP is to place constant pressure on the ministers of government. Correct the wrongs of government. Adelaide Paul says, too many people. Maggie Irish writes, because they don't have a savior. Adelaide Paul, damn if you do, damn if you don't. So do, you might get some results. I agree with you as well. Judy Charles St. John writes, it's not just coward. There is a disconnect. Some say that it is them people business. They are not getting involved until the rooster comes home to roost. Griffo Daniel writes, I spent 6 to 7 hours yesterday looking at the thousands of St. Lucian matching. Believe me, it was nice to see. And I guess you're hoping that will happen in Dominic as well, right, Griffo? I guess with this kind of engagement, it can. Marina Charles says they don't want to lose the envelope. What envelope is that, Marina? Tell me about that envelope. Winston Phillip writes, you can get out by embracing. Who hits you? That comment is a little all over the place, so straighten that up, my brother, and punch it back before we close. Adelaide Paul says, strength in numbers. Rick Paul, Maslin, Edwards, he left it home. That's what he said. He has been terrorizing these people for years because he knew he was protected by the politicians' CBI. A matter of fact, I'm being told that this brother was accosted by the police in the Grand Bay area as well. Some persons are suspecting that he was trying to run from the law after it is said, allegedly, he and whoever can provide some answers. Troy Sports says, Lofty, I am more than ready to join this fight there for justice in this country and looking forward to joining the programs. Soon I have much to talk about. We have to fight injustice in this country. I am fed up. Mr. Sport, thank you very much indeed. Folks, it is about 10:02. That is the time we have to wind down in just a bit. Just to say before I leave though, tomorrow on the Civic Vibes program, we're going to have, as usual, very candid conversation tomorrow. This brother, Mr. Darren Louis, have roots in Dominica, in the Salisbury Bowie area to be precise. He will be our guest for the first hour. They're about basically talking about a very innovative idea that he sort of put together and is pushing at this time, where people in general, so those of you on the live, yes, but more importantly, young people, because we know social media is where the majority of young people, they reside these days. That's where they stay. Their phone never departs from them. Their whatever device, that is where they are on 24/7. And so he will be coming to, Darren Louis that is, will be coming to speak to us about just how young people in particular can be using social media, that media they so love, how they can use it to make a buck, how they can use it to make money. All right? And so if you have a young one, if you know somebody that have a young person living with them, you know of young people, just tell them, tune in or send a link to them tomorrow when you're watching, so that they too can be part of the conversation. Because social media, some persons think it is bad. Thank you, brother, who sent me that comment a while ago. Read that Girodel situation and knowing whoever. I am also hearing that as well. So call your young ones tomorrow from 6 o'clock. Tell them be at the Civic Vibes education/entertainment table, where they will, if they don't know, then they will learn a little more as to just how they can use social media to make some money for themselves. All right. This brother, after listening to him for like half an hour, 45 minutes this week, then I thought, whatever he's telling me, you guys out there need to hear it as well. So, Brother Darren Louis will be with us tomorrow to guide us in that all-important conversation. All right, folks? After that, basically, we'll have sort of an open mic, as it were, whereby Alvin, myself, and we'll be expecting some calls from you guys, where this much talked about free and fair election scenario, you realize it has gone out the window. But Civic Vibes has committed itself to keeping it on the front burner. So Alvin Thomas and myself will be revisiting that conversation. And if all things works out as planned, then most likely, again, do hold me to it, because things can happen. Most likely, there is a 70% chance so far that we will be having one of the commissioners, or maybe two of the commissioners, next week on the program. That is the election commissioners, that is, to just come and give us an update as to where that whole thrust is at this time. All right? And obviously they will put their perspective on it to tell us exactly where it's at and what we can do in Dominica to ensure that we never, ever dream of going into another electoral cycle without the process being freer, fairer, and more transparent. So that is not for tomorrow, Sunday. That is for the following Sunday. All right? If everything pans out as it's supposed to. CCJB Christmas says, with all its deaths and accidents and murders and sudden occurrences, there is a gloomy atmosphere. I miss the way Dominica used to be. The camaraderie and the friendly faces are almost a distant memory. This needs to end, she said. Where's the warmth and the love we used to know? Breaks my heart. Agatha LaRock's right. Is there any of those young people strong? Is there those young people strong? They don't put themselves down. Social media. Yes, that is what we were Just saying a while ago. All right. So Dominicans, that is it for me in terms of time tonight. I like to stick to time. I'm a stickler for time. It is 5 minutes to the hour. So by the time we play that final number, then it will be 8 o'clock on the money. And I have to move out of your space so that you guys can continue on your night. Anthony Drager, right? Thank you, Lofty, for keeping it real and keeping the people focused on what is important. Changing the people who are running the country. Well, Brother Drago, I want to thank you as well. I want to return that kind, compliments to you, because you play a part as well in terms of keeping us well informed and keeping the candle burning. All right. Mali Austria, I know, yes. Mali Austria is writing. She wants that case of Kenisha Etienne reopened, as it were. It is you and I, Mali Austria, and all of us on the live that must multiply that pressure. Mali alone cannot do it. I know Mali have been at it, but she alone cannot do it. Yours truly alone cannot do it. Is if we want to see something happen, we have to make it happen. That is our democracy work, people. We who really and truly have the power. Yeah? Moses writes, give thanks, Lofty, appreciate you and your hard work. Bless up my brother, indeed, as well. And so all the other thank you that is coming in at this time, I want to return